Picture this. You're absolutely crushing at work, pouring in endless effort, and carrying way more than your fair share. Then out of nowhere, your hours get slashed in half. No warning, no explanation. That's exactly what happened to me. My manager thought she could intimidate me into silence, but little did she know, her decision would spark the most satisfying revenge I've ever experienced. In the end, she was the one left scrambling, furious, and completely isolated. Ever had a toxic boss who underestimated you? If so, hit the like button and subscribe, because this tale is workplace karma at its finest. I'm Lily, 23, and I worked at a small fitness club in Austin, Texas, for over a year. I was stationed at the front desk, where my job was so much more than just smiling and scanning memberships. I greeted clients with genuine warmth, tackled piles of paperwork, and, most importantly, sold memberships like nobody's business. I wasn't just good. I was one of the top sellers in the entire club, consistently outshining my colleagues. Out of 5 desk employees, I brought in the most new clients month after month. I even volunteered for the miserable Sunday shift every single week for a year because no one else would touch it. It was long, quiet, and often boring, but I showed up determined to prove my worth. I thought my dedication would earn me some respect, maybe even a pat on the back. Spoiler alert, it didn't. At first, my manager, Rebecca, seemed decent enough, strict, a bit icy, but professional. She had this polished look, always in crisp blouses and heels, with a smile that never quite felt real. But as time went on, her true colors started to show. Rebecca was obsessed with appearances, not just her own, but the entire club's image. She enforced absurd rules to maintain this perfect facade, and it quickly became clear she cared more about looking good than doing good. The worst part? We were coerced into lying to clients. Rebecca didn't just encourage it. She demanded it. We had to pretend we had family ties to clients' hometowns to build fake connections. If someone hesitated to sign up, we were told to argue with them, not once but multiple times, pushing them into pricey memberships they didn't need. She even wanted us to guilt-trip clients, implying they didn't care about their health if they didn't commit. Refusing to play her game meant getting publicly scolded for not caring about the business. It was exhausting and wrong. Then there was the makeup rule Rebecca suggested, though it felt like an order, that all female staff should wear mandatory makeup to elevate the club's image. It was the kind of shallow, controlling move that laid bare her manipulative nature. I started to see her for what she was, a toxic boss who thrived on control. Things hit a breaking point during a tough sales month. It wasn't just me. The whole team was struggling. But instead of addressing it as a group issue, Rebecca zeroed in on me. Without warning, she cut my hours from 35 to a measly 15 a week. She delivered the news with a smug smirk, citing a new policy that anyone with a conversion rate below 15% in a month would face reduced hours or termination. It was nonsense. My numbers were still among the best, even in a slow month. This wasn't about performance. It was personal. I felt utterly disrespected. After a year of loyalty, late nights, and endless Sundays, I was livid. It wasn't just about the money, though losing half my income stung. It was about being valued. Rebecca didn't care about my contributions or the fact that I'd been carrying her underperforming favorites for months. While I busted my tail, she and her clique lounged in the back office, sipping coffee, scrolling their phones, or gossiping about their weekend plans. Seeing my hard work go unnoticed while they coasted was infuriating. I tried to reason with her. I pulled up my sales stats, showed her my consistent performance, and explained how much I relied on the job to pay my bills. But Rebecca just shrugged, her face blank, and said, "I don't know what to tell you." It was like talking to a brick wall. She'd made up her mind long before I opened my mouth. That night, I went home seething. But instead of letting the anger consume me, I turned it into fuel. I was done being undervalued in a toxic workplace built on lies and manipulation. I deserved better. Sitting at my laptop, I applied to every job I could find, retail, hospitality, anything that promised a fresh start. I wasn't going to let Rebecca's power trip define my worth. A week later, a friend tipped me off about an opening at a luxury hotel in downtown Austin. The job offered full-time hours, better pay, a supportive team, and real opportunities to grow. I poured everything into the application, aced the interview, and landed the offer. When I got the call, I felt a wave of relief so strong I nearly cried. This was my ticket out. The day I walked into the fitness club to resign, I felt unstoppable. Rebecca was at the desk, laughing with one of her favorites, completely unprepared. I handed her my resignation letter and calmly explained that her decision to cut my hours had pushed me to find something better. Her face went from shock to barely concealed rage. She stammered, trying to brush it off, but I could see the panic in her eyes. She hadn't expected me to walk away. She thought I'd just roll over. My final week was pure gold, free from the weight of Rebecca's toxicity. I threw myself into my work with a new sense of freedom. I closed deal after deal, racking up record sales that left everyone stunned. Each new membership felt like a little victory, a jab at Rebecca's ego. She couldn't hide her frustration. She snapped at her favorites, hovered over me, and tried to micromanage every move. But it was too late. Her plan to break me had blown up in her face. When I walked out on my last day, I didn't look back. I started at the hotel the next week, and it was everything I'd hoped for: a team that valued me, a manager who respected my work, and a paycheck that actually reflected my worth. Meanwhile, word got back to me that Rebecca was drowning. The club sales tanked without their top performer, and she was stuck covering shifts herself, struggling to fill the void I'd left behind. Rebecca's attempt to crush me had backfired spectacularly. Her betrayal pushed me toward a job that valued me, paid me fairly, and treated me like a human being. She, on the other hand, was left to clean up the mess she'd made, her toxic empire crumbling under her own bad decisions. Looking back, I'm almost grateful for her betrayal. It was a shove I needed to break free from a toxic cycle and step into something better. Sometimes, the worst moments lead to the greatest wins. Have you ever been mistreated by a boss only to see karma come full circle? Drop your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If this tale of sweet revenge hit home, show some love by liking, subscribing, and sticking around for more stories of triumph over toxicity.